out things like the Kindred as well if we do go that far into the champion pools. We're into champ select though here. LGD against WE, and LGD going to have the side selection for the first 3 games of this series. So they're going to start off on the blue side here, banning Galio, banning Set, and banning Caitlyn.
It is interesting to see both the Set and the Caitlyn ban from LGD. I thought they'd leave these both open. Kramer's been playing a lot of the Caitlyn in solo queue, so I thought they might try for that Caitlyn Lux combo. And as well for the Set, I actually had pegged as a big pick for Peanut coming into this split, but Beishang, or this series, but Beishang certainly has been playing a lot of Set recently and has been looking damn good with a 71% win rate for that pick overall in WE.
Well, we do have standard AD carries coming out for these 2 teams specifically, with the Ashe and Ezreal being the top 2 picks for both of these players. And they're missing, or I assume missing, bringing out the Karma. It could well be Teacherma in the mid lane.
We've seen this a lot from Teacherma. The thing is, though, they usually pair that Karma with the Graves that has just been taken away by LGD on the opposite side. So unless they want to go over towards something like the Kindred for Beishang, so you still get that double AD carry alongside this Karma in the mid lane, that will go down towards missing in the bot side. Although Lilia has stepped up a lot here to work in conjunction with Karma, so this could be the other option.
I don't know. I'm still finding myself relatively unconvinced on the
Yeah,
Lilia
I don't
picks.
think any
it's
of
not
us
looked
are.
that good in the LPL, but I mean, there's still possible. It's not like it's not won games. It's not like it's not had some games that look good. I just find that a lot of other junglers often look better. Beishang deciding he agrees here with the Olaf lock-in. As we move towards the bans, it's Thresh taken away from Killua.
And right now, I want to see LGD banning away stuff from Morgan. We already got the Renekton ban away. I'd love to see the Ornn, because when we look at LGD's lineup, they very much want to play at range here, where you've got Ashe, you've got Zoe, you've got the Graves as well. So either take away something like the Ornn from Morgan, and you get rid of his 2 top picks in the Renekton and the Ornn, or take it for yourselves and make sure that you still got this nice front line that you can use in conjunction with the range that you've built in your squad so far.
It's going to be the Lux banned away by LGD. It's been an incredibly strong support, and you can see WE do not want LGD to have engage options in that bottom side with the Thresh ban, the Nautilus following up as well. Might as well be playing against Mark with these bans.
It very much feels like a bait here from LGD's side, though. Go with the Ornn. You know you want it. You get that late game scaling AD carry, pair that with the late game scaling top laner, and WE can try and tend towards that opportunity. But I want to see if LGD have something that they want to bring out against that. We've seen the Volibear played a decent amount by Longxing, and that could be the pick in towards that Ornn in the top lane.
It's interesting with these support bans out from WE. Thresh and Nautilus are 2 of Missing's most played champions. Leona is up there as well. Other than that, though, the rest of the picks have been played like 2 or 3 times across the course of the split. So this Leona, very much a comfort pick for Missing down in that bottom lane. It does also mean Teacherma gets the Karma mid.
And with Killua stepping in, we got to give the caveat that we won't be seeing these engaged supports like we usually see from Mark. Killua is very much more of a defensive player. A lot of the Braum, a lot of the Tam Kench. The one game we saw out of him was that Karma, but he will be taking the Tam Kench here today.
So TK coming out in that bottom lane, and now we have to see where they go for the top side here for Longxing.
They need some sort of engage. Like right now, yes, you've got the Ashe, but unless you, well, it looks like they want to play fully at range and go for this more poke-orientated squad. I'd like to see them pick up a bit of engagement here, but honestly, we said, hey, look, LGD, they've been struggling to figure out when the best opportunity is for them to look for these engages at late game Barons, the Elder Dragon, and those Dragon Soul moments. So instead they're like, hey, we're just going to leave that up to Kramer. He's got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, maybe a couple of these bubbles from Xie, but we're going to play far back at range and try and avoid WE's engages.
So Morgan, we mentioned how he likes the Renekton and the Ornn. He's got 15 and 13 picks of those respectively, but then he's on 3 picks for any other champions. The Monkey King himself, Wukong, going to be one of those champions that he has played 3 times. Certainly offers the teamfight ultimate that Morgan so heavily relies on. But I'm curious how that laning phase is going to go, because I don't think that that's a good laning phase for Wukong.
It's really not. You are going to get punished pretty heavily. Now, you can have some advantages as the Wukong, where if you can try and trade very quickly, where you dash in aggressively, get that smack off with your Q, and then clone back out, it can be a little bit difficult for the Jace to try and trade back on top of you. But once both those spells are down, it's very easy for this Jace to go aggressive. It can be very difficult for you then to try and manage this lane. So certainly I think that the work will be cut out in the top lane here for Morgan, but if he can get into these team fights, you've got great speed up coming through from the Karma, you've got Olaf who's going to be diving in on top of you with them, and you can set up this engage perfectly for WE. So a lot is riding on the back of Morgan here to set up these engages alongside the support from Missing.
And it's so great to see LGD realizing that WE are all about forcing the fight. So LGD, they draft themselves this composition. It's pretty much all about keeping the opponents at arm's length. WE want to run in with this Olaf, with this Wukong, with this Leona, whereas LGD want to keep them as far away as possible. It's time to head on to Summoner's Rift after our Gyos here. It's WE against LGD for the second best of 5 of the Summer 2020 playoffs. And it's Shie against his old squad, against WE, the team that he built his name on. And now he's looking to take them out of the first round of playoffs.
And Shie, especially on this Zoe, has once again a lot on his shoulders where he can be the one that sets up these engages for LGD. A Sleepy Trouble Bubble into the amount of long-range burst that's on LGD's side could be so potent against WE.
And I want to mention a concept here coming into this game, because as we're in the first round of playoffs, even though WE did exceptionally well back in spring, managing to take down eStar in the first round of playoffs, there is a veteran disparity between these two teams.
Just a slight one.
LGD have 4 Worlds attendees. You've got Peanut, who's been to Worlds multiple times, that has won multiple LCK trophies, that won MSI. On the other side, WE, we've got a bunch of rookies. We've got a couple of veterans that have spent their entire careers on WE. But when it comes to experience of the big stage, LGD win that competition far and away.
Easily. I mean, that's what matters when you get to these playoff points. We saw it yesterday. It's the clutch factor that Doomby tried to provide for FPX but couldn't quite push them over the line. But this is what you can expect from LGD, and especially from Peanut here in these early stages. If you look at his pathing, he's gone from red buff towards this top side. He will tend to do this when he's going for an early gank, but looks like he's been spotted out on this top side. Nice call from WE already to spot out the potential of Peanut to move towards this top lane and try and bully out Morgan in conjunction with Longsheen.
And this is something that we often see out of Peanut. We mentioned it during the B-roll earlier, is that Peanut likes to try and get an early gank off in the top lane, try and force themselves a teleport advantage. Because as we mentioned before, LGD love to play around those teleports, love to use them elsewhere on the map. But that's something we've also known from Morgan. When we talked about him back in spring, it was about how selflessly he would use those teleports to make plays around the map.
Very much so, but the thing is that LGD like to set up proactively for these teleport advantages. As you said, having Peanut gank, forcing the enemy laner back, and making sure that that TP is blown before they can join in on this bottom side. And LGD tend to be a lot more proactive when it comes to Longsheen teleporting aggressively, especially when you've got Kramer onto something like this Ashe. It's very easy to set up for these bottom lane plays post level 6.
You see Peanut moving towards the top side here, but he was warded out. Going to go for the Scuttle Crab, as you'd expect the junglers to trade these, as Beisheng sees his opportunity here to grab a little bit extra off the back of this trade deal. Shie will spot him as he leaves the jungle here, will be pinged out. Maybe there's some chance of contest on the Scuttle, but I don't think so, as we're going to see Peanut moving into the top side. Morgan is so damn low under this tower. Longsheen is having a whale of a time.
Oh, there we go, Peanut.
Oh, no.
Have a first blood.
Yeah, Peanut's here, and he's ready. He's got his flash. He's got his quick draw. Morgan has skipped away, though, with the Warrior Trickster.
Just about able to get out. Now, Peanut will answer for the Raptor take in his own jungle with this Krug take on the top side, but already you can see the dominoes are lining up for these teleport plays on LGD's side. However, I want to see a little bit more action coming in, especially from LGD towards this mid lane. When we were talking about that regular split win, a lot of attention was given towards this mid lane. We saw Beisheng going for this super early gank in towards the mid lane in game 2, and Peanut having to respond. I expect to see something similar here in this game.
And certainly could try and make plays towards the top side as well. Both teleports going to be used, though, so Longsheen not looking to get towards the bottom side of the map anytime soon. Going to extend this laning phase, which certainly, when he's playing Jace, that's going to favor him pretty nicely.
For a while, because when we look at LGD, you are looking at these 2-item spikes. Jace can go towards this lethality build where he's going to hit like a truck. I would expect the Manamune to come in at some point as well, especially when they're playing this poke style of comp. And then we look at Xie as well, the likes of Luton's Echo with an Oblivion Orb means he's fully online, and Kramer as well will want that Blade of the Rune King picked up. So this is where I'm looking at LGD to be at their strongest and trying to push WE off of the third Drake.
So we'll see if they're going to be able to do that when we do roll around to getting those Drakes. The first Drake of the game is going to be that Mountain. But I want to quickly touch on the mid lane picks that we've got here, because when we're talking win conditions for these teams, we always talk about this Zoe being picked up to get push priority and try and find yourself elsewhere on the map. But against a Karma, it's always very difficult to push that wave.
It really is, and that's why you can already see Teacher Ma is having the pressure here. They're able to move across first, and this is nothing new from WE. They have the highest first Dragon rate in the league, but LGD are contesting.
Might have a fight on their hands here. Inspire coming out across the team, but Jolmong forced to flash out from this play. Flashes across the board here as Bei Sheng has to use his. But you know what? They get away with their lives. They get away with the Dragon. They're going to be happy with that one.
That's all that LG, or even WE wanted in this game, was to start setting themselves up. If they can start to get a couple of these Dragons under their belt, it's not like LGD are going to be able to rack up 3 Dragons super fast and start getting aggressive before WE are online. Because when you're looking at WE's comp, they're very much looking towards late game with this Ezreal, and as well with this Karma enabling them. Killua, nice grab there.
I mean, let's be honest. When we look at Killua, when you look at his stats on Leaguepedia, when you look at this player historically, it's all about the Braum. It's all about the Tahm Kench. I think Clement, known to have said that he is the best Braum in the known universe in that bottom lane. So you can expect him to be good on this
May
TK.
have been a little bit of hyperbole, just a small bit, but still, he does look very, very good in these defensive style of champions, and it's exactly what LGD have brought to the table here. And when you're looking at a composition like LGD's that are so much about playing at range and stopping WE from getting on top of you, something like this Tahm Kench can be very important in resetting these fights and keeping your team safe.
So we've got Peanut sneaking in here to try and get some camps, but he's just got so much damage. Bei Sheng! He wanders in. He doesn't realize the whole squad's already here.
No, and especially when you've got Xie pushing in mid, you've got the push in bottom lane as well. Your jungle ain't safe anymore, Bei Sheng. And when we talked about how crucial both of these junglers are for these squads, Peanut coming out on top is massive thumbs up for LGD.
And, you know, I was expecting a bit of a scrap between the junglers there, but there was no scrap to be had. Bei Sheng in a 1 versus 3 couldn't fight back. And this is a fantastic advantage for Peanut here, because on the Graves, you want to be able to power farm. Olaf is one of the few champions that can match his farm speed. Not while he's dead.
Definitely not. And this is what we were saying. Peanut is the conductor of LGD.
That was Xie's real flash. That was very aggressive for not much of an opportunity, to be quite honest.
Well, he had the double ignite, so maybe looking for some funky plays. But either way, Xie getting aggressive. Not so sure that one was worth it.
Probably not. Bei Sheng might be able to punish that one in the near future, because let's bear in mind, when Zoe doesn't have flash, she is an incredibly immobile champion.
She really is. And that's the thing looking at Bei Sheng here is that, okay, well now you've got at least Teacher Ma who could teleport back into lane, help shove in. You can either go for this gank in the mid lane if you really want to, off of the reset from Xie, or you can have the push come through from Teacher Ma, off of this TP. They roam over towards this Rift Herald and start to set up objectives. Now, this is what I expected from WE. When we look at LGD and their objective control, they have some of the lowest in the league, especially, not lowest in the league, lowest in playoffs. We'll have to see if they can try and contest it.
Going to be trying to go for this Herald. Bei Sheng is the one on the play for now, but LGD have answered. You can see Jolmong moving up, as is Kramer, but Jolmong will be here first. And I think LGD realizing that this is not something that they can go for 4v5. Bei Sheng grabs himself a Herald.
I'm surprised that they started to move Kramer up, though. You could already see how quickly Jolmong had moves. Like, he was going to be there miles before you were able to respond as LGD. And usually they do leave Kramer down on this bottom side. They're like, right, we'll forego that Herald. Instead, we'll start looking towards these turret plates and set up for that bottom lane play that we talked about, the one that usually nets them that first turret. But that's not the case this time around. And WE end up getting that Rift Herald and not losing too much force.
Perhaps a little bit of playoff jitters here from LGD, feeling like maybe they could force something. Obviously, with the Ashe as well, you do have some influence of these team fights from a long range if you're able to land the crystalline arrow. But when we look at the junglers right now, so far, in terms of gold, they're going to be relatively even with Peanut a slight advantage. But that's going to come down to how this Herald is going to be used over the next couple of minutes by Beisheng. Where do you expect him to be moving to set this advantage up?
I imagine it'll be towards the mid lane, because realistically what WE want to try and do right now is not so much give gold to teach them out, but they'd love to try and create pressure where they can use this Rift Herald to turn it in towards a dragon. Now, you could also look at them to put in towards that bot side, but it doesn't create quite as much pressure as using it in that mid lane. I think I'd like to see them just using this Rift Herald to get dragons, and that has been the usual win condition from WE. Securing a bunch of these early dragons, and then fighting over that fourth and final dragon.
So Morgan was actually losing CS while doing that. That was purely to deny the recall from Lanxing because he is out of mana here, and this is the perfect opportunity for Morgan to be able to shove in.
It's not only that, it's because this dragon is up. Lanxing now can't back. He has his teleport up in just a few moments, but he'll have to clear this wave, and if any sort of shenanigans start out at this dragon, Lanxing won't have any mana available. That was a great call from Morgan.
Really nice play from Morgan, and it's good to see because let's remember that Morgan has been one of the players on WE that has looked a bit weak this play. It breaks my heart to say this out loud, Dagda, but Morgan has definitely been the weak spot for WE more recently. So it's good to see good map-aware play coming out from him as he's going to get his recall after shoving that wave in. Has the teleport available from both sides in the top lane here.
You can see Lanxing is walking back to lane, will lose that wave to the tower, but this is the selflessness that we talked about from Lanxing, where he's not going to TP back, he's not worried about dominating his lane, he wants to make sure that if anything happens on this bottom side, he's able to join in alongside Morgan.
So Jomon going to be able to shove out in that bottom lane, move over towards this dragon. That'll be Beisheng to start this one off with an undertow. Morgan is moving straight across, no consideration to TP into the play. He's just going to walk. Now has TP because we saw the TP from the other side. Killer with a target. He doesn't have anything to get out of the play. Flash already used. Now just trying to burn down the dragon from LGD. They will be able to get that Ocean Drake. Morgan flashes in with the double knockup, but he's completely alone. Doesn't have the follow-up from his team, and he goes down. Now the chase is on as they try and lock these players down, but they just don't have the damage. Kramer now arriving, and it's all falling apart for WE as Teachma trying to get over the wall, but he's slowed down, and just another arrow will finish the kill as a double goes through for Lanxing. Beisheng taken out by Xie as he blasts his old team. Volley comes in, and Jomon will fall. Oh, nice little jump over the wall, though. Keep himself safe. Lanxing going to try and finish this kill off to the skies to finish the kill.
And LGD have cracked open this game, and we're only 12 minutes in. Fantastic play from them. They do get Killua in that bottom side from WE, but the thing is, with where LGD are positioned, because you'd already used the Solar Flare for missing, you couldn't get the follow-up engage that was needed alongside Morgan. LGD are able to kite back beautifully and turn around these kills.
And do you want to know the worst thing on top of everything else? Hang on, Xie's in trouble here, or is he? Maybe not. Xie grabs himself a hat trick with the third kill of the game.
Xie is angry. Xie is 3-0-3, and this is where he's proven very much so that he's moved on from DMO, most certainly from WE, as Killua trying to protect this mid lane.
Herald does get the charge off, so at least Beisheng gets a bit of gold from those plays. That play around Dragon went from bad to worse real quick for WE.
And now look at what's going to come up. An Infernal Dragon. We're looking at Infernal Soul, where you can get several going over towards LGD, but this is the play here where everyone commits onto Killua. A huge amount invested. Ragnarok, you got the Solar Flare, and even though WE flashes in from Morgan here to get this play set up, there's no follow-up. Mistine doesn't have the Solar Flare to follow. He's forced to flash in with the Zenith Blade when it comes up, and with Beisheng having no Ragnarok, that stun shuts him down, the slows come through, and LGD are able to turn the fight.
And it's the fact that they clean up everyone. That was a clean ace coming out for LGD. Obviously, Killua went down, but that's it. There's one kill for WE, and it was in that fight. The rest all going the way of LGD. And just look at the gold lead that they already have. We're only 14 minutes in, and they're 4,500 gold up.
And look who it's on. It's on Lanxing, it's on Xie, the two prime targets to poke out WE. So now you're looking at that Yomu's Ghostblade already completed. Luden's finished. You're going to get an Oblivion Orb soon from Xie as well. This is where you just take over this game as these two carries. And if WE tried to set up for any of these objectives, if they find themselves in a pit, it's open season for LGD.
All right, so now we've got a significant gold disparity. Let's revisit the win conditions we said earlier, because we were saying LGD was going to be trying to contest. Hang on, let's come back to this conversation, Dagda, because Morgan He's in a 1v1 with Peanut, but this is not one that the Monkey can win. Shotgun greater than Monkey. That's the rules of nature, ladies and gentlemen.
Who brings a staff to a shotgun fight? I mean,
Exactly.
realistically. But still, these are the plays that we wanted to see LGD do to accelerate. And again, all off the back of Mr. Conductor and Peanut, setting up this play on the top side, giving this first turret towards Longxing. And now they're in prime position where this next Rift Herald spawns. Actually, it's already spawned. You've got Peanut, who's there to collect it. Is missing.
Missing is going to find his health bar missing here as he's just going to be taken down, trying to defend a tower here. This is going to be 2 now going down as one went down in the top side, one goes down in the mid lane. Teaching answers in the bottom lane, but that is not an even trade.
It's really not, as LGD might just keep pushing here. They have that Rift Herald that is making its way over, and in these siege scenarios, they are so strong.
Xie is on fire right now, 3-0-4. He cannot miss a trouble bubble. And here's the thing. This is the kind of composition that when you are ahead is going to do so much work. Look at the gold lead that Longxing has in the top lane. 2,500 gold almost, and a similar disparity in that mid lane as well.
And this isn't what I expected at all from LGD. We haven't seen the Jace from Longxing thus far in the summer split, and I thought, okay, let's get engages. Let's try and set this up where they can have this massive team fight where they're the ones that are coming out on top. TP's blown galore to get over towards that dragon or towards the Baron, and that's how they win this. LGD are playing this kite back style super well, finding these tempo windows where they can catch WE out in transition and using these long-range siege potentials so well.
And I feel like this is the kind of composition that was a kite back style, and they used it as a kite back style in that one dragon fight. And now it's a kite forward style, because with a 7,000 gold lead, they can do basically whatever they want on the map at this stage.
Yeah, this is their game. You can already see how big the gold lead is, and honestly, how good has this got to feel as an LGD fan? 4.5 years since you were able to get into playoffs. Exactly. And now they've managed to come into that first round. They are looking so damn clean. And at least in game number 1, it's looking like LGD are going to come out on top.
It's feeling pretty good for LGD right now, I have to say it. We were talking about how they were going to contest that third dragon. Well, no contest needed. They're so far ahead that they're able to just sweep up that Infernal Drake, which means they've now got themselves the 2 Drakes. They've got themselves a huge gold lead. And the question now is, what on earth can WE do to get back into this game? The answer might be nothing if there's a catch here. That's going to be onto Beisheng as Missing tries to move his way in here alongside Teachama. Blue buff taken. And now the engage. Morgan looking to get in and spin around, but doesn't find the opportunity. The disco not happening just yet.
Not able to hit anything, and now Sleepy Trouble Bubble. No poke to follow. But still, LGD, this is what they can keep doing, especially when we look towards Baron that's going to be spawning in a couple of minutes. Say when we get to the 25-minute mark. With how far ahead Xie is, with how far ahead Longxing is, they can get control of the enemy jungle. And if you start to move in to Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, Ash Arrows, it becomes so difficult for WE to take back control of their jungle, as you're seeing it in your screens right now.
True Shot Barrage goes through as Missing doesn't quite get his Zenith Blade there. Little attempt from WE to start a fight. Let's bear in mind, currently the mid tier 2 has already gone down for LGD. They're sieging onto the bottom tier 2. Baron's not even on the map yet. This is not meant to be the point in the game that they're able to just completely bully out, but their composition is perfect at this.
Exactly. This is where they're most at home. Especially Longxing free firing, you got walls galore for those trouble bubbles. LGD are putting the foot down. They understand how they're supposed to aggress forward in this game. And when you're in playoffs, you're starting off 9-1. You've got only a single death that went over towards Kahlua in that early stages. LGD have a good reason to feel confident.
Yes, they do. But let's revisit what we can do here for WE, because when we look at the ultimates available, there's a little bit of wombo combo action that can come through. You got Morgan on the Wukong, you got Missing on this Leona as well. The Solar Flare Cyclone combo can certainly set up a one-team fight.
That's the thing here for LGD. The way they need to keep playing this is by spreading out and not grouping up too heavily. Because, as you said, if you can get a multi-man Cyclone into a Solar Flare, you've got enough damage, especially as Jomung starts to ramp up with these items, where Beisheng would be able to come in with the AD build that he's gone for on Olaf. That'll be enough damage to burst out these low-health members of LGD and swing a fight in your favor. So you still do have to be careful as LGD coming in. But you can see WE are paying a lot of respect to them.
So you can see some power spikes coming out across the board here. Shot barrage going through to clear the wave. But we've got a Ludens and a Morello finished for Xie now. Not opting for the... hang on, we got damage coming through. Oh, it's a base shug following through as well. With the portal jump over the wall. Xie just flexing his muscles a little bit. Not going to go for the death book just yet in that mid lane. But he does have that Dark Seal, so that could be the next option for him.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I think he's probably going to go back more. Oh, well, what I prefer to see him go is something a little bit more defensive. You can see how much damage he has right now. I'd like to see something like a Zhonya's, just so that then if this wombo combo comes in from WE, he's able to keep it safe, not end up dying instantly, and can actually churn out the damage that he's got packed underneath him.
So I think that would be the smart play, Doctor. But I'm not expecting that to happen. I'm expecting the Medjais. I'm expecting Xie to pop off here because let's just remember, he's playing against his old team. He's playing against the team that he went 4th place at Worlds with, or 3rd/4th place. This is a very important game for Xie, not just to win in terms of playoffs, but to win for his own personal benefit, for his own pride. So I think he's going to go damage, and I think he wants to destroy Teacher.
Well, he's doing a fairly good job of it thus far. 3-0-4 in that mid lane. The thing here for LGD is they've now secured mid lane pressure. They've forced WE back. It's so easy for Peanut to move over and start soloing out this dragon, while you have the rest of LGD playing keep away with the poke and prod style that these champions are so good at. How do you try and contest this as WE? Especially when you don't really have any vision there to spot out where LGD might be. You can't even get like a flank ward for Morgan. It becomes really difficult to operate it.
One thing I will say in favor of WE here is that if there is one team in the league that is great at these turnaround plays, WE is the team. I remember back in spring we were talking about they had the highest win rate when behind at 15 minutes back in spring. Now, that may not be true statistically anymore, but there's still that spirit there. That is the way that WE have regularly played in the past.
And to be fair, LGD aren't exactly known for how clean they are at closing out games. They can be a little bit messy. Kramer can get caught out in certain positions, but at least he does have Killua here to help him out. LGD have been the worst team at closing out games. That's why we often see these TP shenanigans where they need to try and go for backdoors, or everyone's suddenly TPing towards a fight because they've realized we haven't set up correctly. We haven't closed this game out smoothly. So if there is a team that WE could have that comeback with, it's certainly LGD.
One thing I will say though, Dagda, is we're in playoffs now, and I'm willing to give every team a fresh slate for playoffs for best of fives. Peanut, I think, decided not to fully commit to this contestation here. Morgan there to support as they grab themselves the blue buff here. But LGD, they may have had some messy late games across the course of this split. But as they get into best of 5, as they get into playoffs, you'd hope that they've tidied things up moving forward.
Well, we'll get to see here today against WE. Now, the game has slowed down a little bit because we are waiting for a lot of these big objectives. See, Baron is spawned, but LGD don't want to be the ones in the pit here because you will give that wombo combo from WE a lot of berth when you come into something like a Baron pit. Oh, here we go.
Kramer goes to the engage, but Missing has that Eclipse, so he's going to be relatively safe. Leona not the target, but Kramer is. Killua keeps him safe, and there's a heal coming out as well. Missing suddenly finds himself getting low on this one, as the supports both back away, but the Trouble Bubble comes through. It hits a Ragnarok, but that's damage coming out from Xie. Can't quite finish anybody off. True Shot Barrage through the team as well. Teacher barely gets out with his life. But out with his life is the key word there, because Teacherma escapes.
And somehow WE got out with all their lives there. Teacherma, I think that was single-digit health. I don't know how that karma got out, but either way, LGD are getting control back in this jungle now. Haven't turned quickly towards this Baron. You can see the pings going down to start it up, but they're a little bit late. WE are back on the map, and they're coming straight back into this jungle.
Killua going to be trying to protect it as Jolmon contests the blue buff. The red buff, sorry. I don't know if that is necessarily the strategic play here. So Jolmon might have to head back to base. Now, let's bear in mind, with Baron on the map, there is still threat coming out from LGD, but they don't seem confident enough to just pull the trigger like we often see in the LPL.
Well, this is the thing when we get to the mid-game. LGD will go towards Farmer Kramer. They're like, right, we just want you to sit in this mid lane, farm up towards your items where you feel comfortable, and it looks like at the moment that's going to be the death stance next for Kramer. So they just want to hang on, but you can see here, LGD trying to make sure they can play at range as soon as WE burn all their engages, that's where LGD are going to look to pounce in. Teacher Matt, like, 1
HP!
1 HP!
Literally 1 HP on Teacher Ma. Oh my goodness. Unlucky Lanching. Unlucky. That should have been a 4th kill, but my god. Well, WE, even though the game may not be going that well for him so far, clearly somebody upstairs likes it.
I mean, they definitely are a Teacher Ma fan, because I cannot believe he got out with that. Still, though, you can see how strong LGD are.
He's blessed by PP God.
Blessed by PP God. It's like, we got to meet in the finals. Everyone doubted us. We got to get there, buddy. But yeah, look, next Dragon is going to be up in a minute 50. This is where LGD are again going to look to try and keep pushing in these waves, making sure that they're able to force WE back before they turn over to it. They need to start getting active in these side lanes, though, because right now, like, they have the opportunity for Longxing to shove in a side lane. Same when you look at Xi in the bottom lane, and try and use these compositions to get the last outer turret, even on this top side, or try and make some plays, but still afraid of these plays from WE.
Playing the mid lane coming out from LGD as they find Longxing alone in the top side, and he is going to be executed. The Axe of the Viking comes through. Spacehan grabs himself a Graggy Ice as well as a kill. Now towards the mid lane as LGD look to make a counter play. Morgan dodges away from the bubble though. This should be defendable. This is now 4v5.
There's no arrow for Kramer, so they can't find the engage. Now LGD are caught between a rock and a hard place as WE, though, don't want to try and contest. They don't want to try and get in on top of them.
This is one of those weird situations where it is 4v5, but there's also almost a 10,000 gold lead in favor of LGD. I'm not sure if WE can actually win the fight.
The biggest, like, one of the big carries for LGD is down in Longxing, though. This is the, if you were ever going to find a moment to come back, that was it. WE needed to find that engage. You've got Missing, who's got the perfect flank onto the likes of Xie. You've got a bunch of slows that can come in. Like, that was the moment there. But unfortunately for WE, they're not able to wrap around quick enough. Now LGD have Longxing back on the map. They can start to poke, they can start to shove in, and with this Dragon up, that's where LGD are going to.
We've got a Dragon in 30 seconds here. Missing takes a chunk out there from Xie. And Ultimate's still on cooldown here for Missing, so that big engage tool not available for WE just yet as Longxing arrives on the play. Peanut getting some damage down onto this front line. WE just getting bullied off of the map right here as they try and contest in the mid lane. This just opens the Dragon wide for LGD. They can move over if they want to. It looks like they want to fight for now.
And look at the way LGD are playing this. Way spread out, so Missing can't get on towards multiple people. The Solar Flare, you're not going to be able to just turn and burst down the whole team, although Missing.
There's an arrow coming on through the mini wave, pluck the Paddle Star, but it's not going to matter. Longxing now moving towards the mid lane. As Peanut is going to be able to solo this Infernal Soul, the rest of the squad is looking for inhibs. Morgan the target of Longxing as he's moving underneath the tower here. This is sheer confidence out from LGD. With the jungler over at Dragon, though, this is the moment for WE if they ever had a chance to fight. But it's not happening. They're not pulling the trigger.
They can't. Morgan doesn't have Flash, and it's such a crucial summoner spell to try and get onto this team, especially when they can play so far with the acceleration gate. Just run back, kite back, and now you're losing your base. And we haven't even got a Baron yet, but Morgan has TP'd in.
Yeah, but he's alone. He doesn't have the rest of his team following up on the TP. Survives for now, gets away with the burn ticking. Somehow makes it out of that one. Jomung now on the front line as he's just trying to dish out as much damage as possible. Xie looking for a trouble bubble. Just jumped away from is Missing. Happy to be the front line, but not for much longer. Flashes forward here. Missing's going to go down. That might just be it here, Dagda, because LGD, they've got the gold lead, they've got the damage, they've got the inhib, and now they're looking for the game as they move in with the minions. But they're deciding this is too much, and they back away.
Well, they've already got everything. They've just picked up so much gold. They've got that Infernal Soul. LGD can now turn towards that Baron, shove in this mid lane as well, collect that turret that's on maybe 100 HP. Like, LGD are looking so close.
And with an Infernal Soul as well, this Baron is easy pickings for them. And I have to ask you, Dagda, where was the late game messiness from LGD? Because that's what I was sold here. That's what I was told was going to happen. Morgan, I mean, they saw him channel the TP. They knew where he was.
I love this new style of LGD, though, because what we were highlighting was LGD struggle to find engages. They will look at you across the river, stare lovingly into your eyes, and not actually go for an engage or ask you to dance, because they don't have these perfect setups, which seems to be what they're eyeing for. Instead, LGD have gone, right, well, if we're not going to find engages, let's just put a composition together that doesn't need to engage. We don't have to look to try and get on top of the enemy team. We can just poke, prod, and have an Enchanted Crystal Arrow to start things off. That just goes wide.
Trouble Bubble will do the same as missing. Takes a smoke bomb to the face, but he'll get out with his life here. And now LGD. We mentioned setup. This is the moment for them to do exactly that onto this Baron. Jolmung trying to get some damage out. And you can see Jolmung has really tried his best here. He's been doing a decent job of trying to get some damage out, but the thing is he's so far behind is it doesn't seem to matter.
And that's the thing. Although we talked about the scaling coming in from WE where they could be in a good spot, you've got an Infernal Soul LGD with a 10,000 gold lead. It's going to be very difficult for your scaling to overcome that until you get way past this point. And with this Baron now started by LGD, they are tearing through this. WE are approaching though, and this is actually a dangerous moment for LGD, who, if you can get this engaged from WE...
Jolmung's in trouble here. Lanxing thought he was going to go for the play. Backs away in the end as Xie will just continue to hurl out these paddle stars. WE feeling the brunt of the galaxy hitting them in the face. The Baron not going to be taken though, and that's realistically all WE wanted out of this.
Well, you can see the minions in that bottom side. That's what LGD are waiting for. That's going to hit the turrets. You need people here on WE to defend, and WE, the rest of them, they're playing dodgeball.
Yeah, they're going to try and make it in here. True Shot Barrage goes in onto the Dragon. Bei Sheng has the flash available, but he can't make it in. Lanxing keeping him away, and with missing falling, with the Baron in pocket, with an Infernal Soul to boot. I think this one's pretty much done, Dagda.
Yeah, Kramer just isn't missing with these Enchanted Crystal Arrows. Every single one has struck the Leona, and even with that Gargoyle Stoneplate, they are bursting through the support. That's the beefy member of WE, and from that point, WE are running for the hills.
This has been a rough game for WE here in Game 1 of the series, and the draft, I think, has to change pretty significantly. But it's important to remember where LGD got this massive lead. It was one huge fight that swung the game from almost even to 5,000 in favor of LGD. So moving forward in the series, this is by no means a good representation of a straight-up 5v5.
There are a couple more things that I'm worried about, though, because definitely Peanut was the one who commanded this early jungle with Xie and Kahlua moving, and this is where they start to get those leads post that fight. So I want to look and see if LGD once again can take control as WE are looking to defend their base.
Missing goes in to start this fight off. In goes Morgan to get a couple of knockups. Kramer, the target, as he will go down. It's all on Jolmung to carry this fight. Killua on the front line as Xie jumps in, but he doesn't have any mana to actually finish this kill off. Jolmung still going strong, but Lanxing wants to make a mockery of that statement. Teach him are surviving in the meantime as Jolmung goes back in. True Shot Barrage through the team. It doesn't quite have the damage. It was so damn close, but so damn far. And LGD stepped their best foot forward in game number 1. And Xie shows his old team what he's about.
Xie making a statement performance on this Zoe. 3-0-10. LGD show